Cinema has always been more than just entertainment. It has been a mirror to society, a battleground for freedom of expression, and a stage where filmmakers tested the boundaries of morality, politics, and art. But some movies went so far that they sparked outrage, triggered censorship, and, in many cases, were banned. These films were not simply movies. They were cultural earthquakes that shook Hollywood to its core. In this script, we explore 15 banned and controversial films that changed the course of cinema history. Their stories reveal how far filmmakers were willing to go in pursuit of truth, art, and rebellion. 1. The Birth of a Nation, 1915. D.W. Griffith's The Birth of a Nation is often cited as both a groundbreaking work and one of the most dangerous films ever made. Released in 1915, it revolutionized filmmaking with techniques like sweeping battle sequences and dramatic close-ups. Yet its portrayal of African Americans relied on harmful stereotypes, and it glorified the Ku Klux Klan as heroic figures. This sparked widespread protests across the United States, with civil rights groups condemning the film's racist propaganda. Though it influenced the technical direction of cinema, it left a legacy of pain that is still debated today. 2. Scarface, 1932. Before Al Pacino's 1983 version, the original Scarface was already a lightning rod for controversy. Released in 1932 during the gangster film craze, it depicted organized crime with raw violence and shocking realism. Audiences had never seen such unfiltered brutality, and critics feared it glorified criminals. Politicians pushed for stricter guidelines in Hollywood, arguing that the film could corrupt youth. Yet, despite the uproar, Scarface became a touchstone of the gangster genre, influencing countless films that followed. Its legacy reminds us that even when art disturbs, it can also illuminate society's darker truths. 3. Freaks, 1932. Todd Browning's Freaks remains one of the most shocking films of its time. Using real carnival performers with physical differences, Browning created a horror drama that humanized them while also unsettling audiences. Many viewers in the 1930s found the film offensive and exploitative, leading to bans and edits across the world. One legend even claimed that a viewer suffered a heart attack after watching it. Despite its initial rejection, Freaks later gained cult status as a misunderstood masterpiece. Today, it is celebrated for challenging society's narrow definitions of beauty, normality, and acceptance. 4. The Great Dictator, 1940. Charlie Chaplin took an enormous risk with The Great Dictator. Released in 1940, when the world was engulfed in World War II, the film mocked Adolf Hitler and fascist ideology through biting satire. Some critics argued it was too dangerous to lampoon dictators at such a tense moment, but Chaplin's blend of humor and humanity struck a global chord. His closing speech calling for peace and compassion remains one of cinema's most powerful moments. Banned in parts of Europe at the time, The Great Dictator paved the way for political satire in film and proved that comedy can be a weapon against tyranny. 5. Citizen Kane, 1941. Often regarded as the greatest film ever made, Citizen Kane was as controversial as it was brilliant. Orson Welles' story of Charles Foster Kane, a powerful newspaper tycoon, was widely seen as a thinly veiled attack on real-life media mogul William Randolph Hearst. Hearst retaliated by using his newspapers to suppress advertisements and pressure theaters not to screen the film. Despite these obstacles, Citizen Kane endured and became a symbol of artistic courage. It challenged censorship by proving that cinema could critique powerful figures and institutions without being silenced. 6. The Outlaw, 1943, tested Hollywood's strict censorship codes in the 1940s. Featuring Jane Russell in a daring role, the film was marketed with posters that emphasized her figure. A scandalous move for its time. Religious groups and moral watchdogs condemned it, delaying its wide release for years. Ironically, the controversy fueled public curiosity, and when it finally premiered, audiences rushed to see it. Though not remembered as a cinematic masterpiece, The Outlaw remains a landmark in the fight against outdated moral restrictions in film. 7. Song of the South, 1946. Disney's Song of the South is one of the company's most controversial productions. Combining live action and animation, it told folktales from the Reconstruction-era South. However, critics argued that it romanticized slavery and presented a false, cheerful picture of racial injustice. The character of Uncle Remus in particular was seen as a troubling stereotype. 8. The Moon is Blue, 1953. When Otto Preminger released The Moon is Blue, Hollywood wasn't ready for its candid discussions about sex, love, and relationships. Even though it avoided explicit imagery, its dialogue openly mentioned words like virgin and mistress, which were shocking for audiences of the 1950s. The Moon is Blue opened the door for mainstream films to tackle adult themes in ways that were both witty and daring. 9. The Man with the Golden Arm, 1955, starred Frank Sinatra as a man battling heroin addiction. The result was a raw and groundbreaking portrayal of addiction that shocked audiences while earning critical acclaim. Its impact went beyond box office numbers. It forced Hollywood to confront subjects it had long ignored. 10. Bonnie and Clyde, 1967. By the late 1960s, cinema was entering a new era, and Bonnie and Clyde became its rebellious anthem. Starring Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, the film depicted the infamous outlaw couple with a mix of glamour and graphic violence. Critics were split. Some condemned it as excessively brutal, while others hailed it as revolutionary. Its bold editing style and unflinching approach to crime storytelling inspired the new Hollywood movement, influencing generations of filmmakers. 11. Midnight Cowboy, 1969, shocked audiences by portraying hustlers and homosexual relationships in gritty New York City. Initially given an X rating, it became the first X-rated film to win the Academy Award for Best Picture. Its unfiltered look at loneliness, exploitation, and survival challenged taboos that Hollywood had long avoided. Though controversial at release, it has since been celebrated as a masterpiece of realism and empathy. Midnight Cowboy proved that cinema could embrace difficult subjects while still achieving critical and commercial success. 12. A Clockwork Orange, 1971. Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange remains one of the most controversial films in history. With its disturbing portrayal of ultra-violence, youth gangs, and state control, it provoked moral outrage across the globe. Banned in several countries and even voluntarily withdrawn by Kubrick in the UK due to violent copycat crimes, the film nevertheless became a cult classic. Its themes of free will, morality, and societal decay continue to resonate, making it one of the most debated works of modern cinema. 13. The Devils, 1971. Ken Russell's The Devils pushed the limits of cinema with its shocking mix of religion, violence, and sexual imagery. Based on historical events in the 17th century France, it told the story of a priest accused of witchcraft. Many countries banned it outright, and even when it was released, censors cut large portions. Despite the outrage, critics praised its daring visuals and narrative boldness. Today, it stands as a symbol of how film can confront society's darkest hypocrisies, even when audiences find the content unbearable. 14. Cannibal Holocaust, 1980. Few films have generated as much horror and legal trouble as Cannibal Holocaust. Shot in a found footage style, it depicted shocking violence and real animal cruelty, blurring the line between fiction and reality. Authorities even accused the director of making a snuff film, forcing him to prove in court that his actors were alive. Banned in multiple countries, the movie remains one of the most infamous examples of exploitation cinema. Love it or hate it, Cannibal Holocaust forced the world to confront uncomfortable questions about violence, voyeurism, and the ethics of filmmaking. 15. The Last Temptation of Christ, 1988. Martin Scorsese's The Last Temptation of Christ was one of the most polarizing films of the 1980s. Based on a novel, it portrayed Jesus as deeply human, with doubts, struggles, and even temptations. Despite the uproar, Scorsese's work has since been praised for its complexity and depth. The Last Temptation of Christ demonstrates the enduring tension between religious tradition and artistic freedom. In the end, these movies prove one timeless truth. Cinema's greatest power lies not in playing it safe, but in daring to provoke, disturb, and inspire change.